Jan in Mountain View. Hi, Jan. What are you doing?
Listening to you guys, but I wanted to bring up a couple of points, and that was that Andy Reid's been in the league longer than Shanahan. He's been a head coach longer than Shanahan, and I found out that he also, in the past few years, he's had advisors or someone on the staff, like he had the enemy to help him with the offensive line, and Shanahan needs somebody like that too, because yesterday the reason why McCaffrey couldn't run so much is because Kansas City was stacking the box like 8 or 10 personnel, and he couldn't get through there, and so that Purdy had no choice but to try and pass, and every time he tried, they kept bringing this, this pressure from their defensive coach, and that's another thing. If he had somebody else to help him, perhaps maybe he could, in the second half, when he needs to make adjustments, be able to see what they're doing or about to do, and be able to bring that trophy home instead of, running into these, running into the conservatorship and everything else, and try to, have this person help Shanahan realize this. Hey, look, listen to me. I can help you make some adjustments that you haven't made.
Well, Jan, here's what I would say. Thanks for the call. Shanahan is not the only member of the offensive staff with the San Francisco 49ers. One example you brought up was Bieniemy helping Andy Reid. How did Andy do this year without Eric? Did it go okay? Someone remind me. How did it end?
Yeah, it worked out all right for him. And Eric is currently up for grabs in case anybody wants to hire him.
That went well. It went well in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my point is, look, Kyle is the czar of the offense. That's true. But look, Mike McDaniel was his right-hand man not too long ago, right? Now he's doing a great job in Miami. Like, there are other voices. Like, he's got a headset on. Right. There are people talking to him.
Brian Greasy is there working with the quarterbacks. And
Kubiak, who may end up in New Orleans. Like, there's people there. There are other suggestions out there. Let's put it that way.
And I don't think, and all of the people who want him to bring in an OC, he's not going to do it.
Oh, my God.
All the people who want Shanahan to do different things, he's just not going to do it. He's not going to bring in somebody who's older and wiser to work with him. Hey, Kyle, I think now would be a good time for you to maybe use a timeout. That's not what you do when you're Kyle Shanahan.
Here's the super hard thing to say today. And maybe in July we can say this and get away with it. Today you kind of have to say it and duck. But because I know how.
Let me find something to throw.
Yeah, get something to throw at me. Well, that would hurt. Don't throw that. That's a water bottle, for crying out loud.
I'm going to get my money's worth.
It's metal.
It was just all right.
Do you have any more of those little gold footballs or anything in the other room? Give me some gold footballs so Dibs can throw it at me. What I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because I get it. This is going to sound. Thanks, Grandy. Whoa! Duck!
I got to catch that. That's all
right. I wasn't even ready for it. Anyway, thank you, Lucas. I get that this sounds like you're being okay with coming in second place. Nobody's okay with coming in second place. But this idea that a lot of you have, Kyle needs to this, Kyle needs to that, he needs a helper, he needs an OC, he needs to be fired, whatever. The Niners' response, maybe it'll help if I do it that way. The Niners' response to you would be, do you want to know why we're not going to do that? Because what we're doing is working.
All right.
You literally took the Warriors logo down.
He ducked too soon, YouTubers. That's my bad. We'll get that. Sorry, Lucas. We'll get that fixed.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh, Lucas is mad.
No. It's okay. I can fix it.
Lucas, I'm sorry.
I can fix it. I know how to fix it.
Mark, and to your point,
do you know what I mean?
It's working. They've been to the last 4 years.
4 out of 5 years, they're sitting there. It's not. Oh, well, boy, if only we
blow
could
the whole thing up.
Boy, if we could just call a play. They're like, yeah.
If we could just have a winning season.
I mean, if they could play someone in the last game not named Patrick, they'd probably have a ring.
Well,
and I know that's
an excuse.
And that's fine.
Win the damn game.
I'm not making any excuses. It is painful. The same way it was painful, thank you, Lucas, for Barkley and Ewing and Reggie Miller.
I'm going to have to stop you because
I'm sorry.
I don't want that comp to be the comp.
I will make that
because they never
comp.
got one.
I will make that. I know. And Kyle, this particular group might not ever either. Patrick's not going anywhere for a decade. A decade.
That's fine. You've had 2 chances to beat him.
Yep.
It's not like he's beaten
and
you.
You're 0 for 2.
He's 0 for 2. Kyle Shanahan's got to figure out a way to get this done.
And whenever I keep doing the Michael Jordan Mahomes thing, all of you who are like, that's disrespectful to MJ, don't say that. Patrick lost a Super Bowl. Forget this. Y'all think MJ never lost. Yes, he did.
Never lost in the finals.
Played more than 6 years in his career.
Right.
So I actually would argue getting to the finals and losing is more effective than losing in round 2 or whatever, which Michael did many times.
Yeah.
So
couldn't get by Detroit.
Yeah. So Michael has lost and Patrick has lost. But to argue that Patrick in this moment is anything other than Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, at minimum in the making. This is the NFL. Parity is king. Hard cap. And this guy has the biggest cap hit in the entire league. Loses receivers every year. And they have gone to the Super Bowl almost every time he plays. And he has 3 rings, and he's 28.
Yeah.
It's a freaking dude.
Yeah, you were favored, and you had chances to win the game, and you didn't.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that you can't. It's not impossible. It's really hard.
Well,
it's really hard.
It's not as hard when you have the better team, and they had the better team.
Yeah, but
go out there and win the game.
No doubt, but you're not arguing that they make some sort of wholesale changes.
No, of course not. Well, you do have, and I want to get the number right, 19 unrestricted free agents. So you got 19 guys you're going to have to make decisions about.
What are the big names?
The big names, well, both your quarterbacks, Brandon and Sam, so they're both probably going to be gone.
Okay, that's...
Oren Burks, the aforementioned Oren Burks.
Okay.
John Feliciano.
Okay.
Cleveland Ferrell is unrestricted. Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, so that's 2 linebackers now who could be on the move. Tashawn Gibson, not a huge deal when you get Hufanga back, and you've got Jair Brown. So
yeah, maybe.
You've got some depth in-house. Kevin Givens, Randy Gregory, no big deal. Javon Kinlaw, who actually played better this year.
He did. He was better.
Ray and
Chase.
Charlie Warner, Chase Young. I was going alphabetical.
Yeah.
Charlie Warner and Ross Dwelly also, who didn't play that much this year.
0 core pieces.
Yeah.
But no. I'm not dismissing it. But
okay.
Zero core pieces.
Well, I'm just looking and it's in terms of starters, Feliciano, starter, Gibson's a starter, and that's pretty much Charlie Warner and the 2 tight ends.
Gibson's the closest one to what you would call a core piece.
Chase Young's a starter.
Yeah, but he was never going to stay.
Right.
He was never going to stay.
Of course, but in terms of your depth, that's a lot of your depth pieces there.
No doubt.
So, you're going to have to go out there and find replacements in order to run this thing back.
Yeah. I mean, as you do every year. Paul in Pleasanton. Hi, Paul. What are you doing?
Hey, guys. Yesterday during the game, kind of had that sinking feeling throughout. Even at halftime, 10-3, my son was like, they're not going to win this game. You had to put your foot down on their throat when you had it. So it was just a slow burn in the end. Huh. I think I've called in here before and I've shared that I lived in Boston, from 2000 to 2006. This kind of looks like another repeat of that. We have another, Brady version 2. But, it's good to point out that over his 20 years, he, got in the way of a lot of teams winning Super Bowl, but not like every single one, right? The Steelers got theirs. I think Manning got his couple. So we should take a 5-10 year view. Purdy is our quarterback. Let's not waste a minute talking about, is he game manager or not? He's our guy. Let's build the team around him. Well, one thing I wanted to get your opinion is, there is this consistent pattern with Shanahan in these big games. He does some stuff where the whole world is telling him to go the other way. So is it time for him to get a play caller? Maybe not like a full-time play caller, but somebody who's up in the booth and is calling him like before the half, like, hey, coach, take a timeout, or don't, have 9 plays, pass plays right after the half. Just wanted to get your input on that.
Paul, thanks. It's sort of like what you said a second ago. I have a hard time with this idea because, I believe that there is more of a group think tank than we realize. But then again, the structure of this organization under this regime is never going to change until this is not the regime anymore.
Right.
When it comes to the offensive side of the football, Kyle's the dude. And you can hate that. You can advocate a change. I wouldn't, not even close. But that's the way that this cookie is going to crumble for as long as this group is in place. That's the way it's worked from the beginning. He is the one who built the offensive side of this roster. He's the one who calls the plays. And again, I'll duck. They would argue that it has worked very well. They just haven't gotten the last game.
Right. And I don't think that
this
means
damn close twice.
Yeah, close unfortunately doesn't count. We're not playing cornhole where you get a point for your bag being on the board.
It's fun though. I do love
great game
cornhole.
For sure. Yeah. Any game that you can play with a drink in your hand, I'm in. But this is not close. In the Super Bowl, you don't get points for being close. You get the Lombardi when you win. You get nothing. You get a set of steak knives, as the old expression goes. Second place, set of steak knives. Glenn Ross.
I'm not arguing that you get anything for second place. I've never been somebody who thinks that losing the Super Bowl is the same as finishing 6-11. I don't believe that. I do believe that reaching the Super Bowl is an accomplishment.
You got the George Halas Trophy you can go to bed with.
Yeah, no, it's not overly special. It's not what anybody's looking for. But that's what I mean. An organization is not going to look at years like this and think failure. Sure, they didn't achieve their goal, but there's 2 different ways to go into an offseason, which is, well, that didn't work, so let's make a bunch of changes. Or you look at it and go, I mean, damn it. Like one play could have gone different and they could be champions right now.
No doubt.
So you don't make wholesale changes when that's the case.
No, and you hired Kyle Shanahan to take your organization from what the hell was that when you're 2-14 with Chip Kelly, and you entrusted in him to build the thing up and hopefully turn it into a winner. And he's done that. Yep. Now, he hasn't been able to win the Lombardi, but this franchise is in a far, far, far better place than it was when he took over. And when you go to the Super Bowl twice and you lose twice, you don't blow it up and you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And you don't look at all the players who struggled yesterday and say, well, you're out and you're gone. So you're going to cut Trent Williams because he had a bad game, your Hall of Fame left tackle. No, you're going to look at what you can do to improve the roster. Maybe you make some tweaks to the coaching staff. I don't know if Steve Wilkes is back or not. That'll be an interesting one to see in terms of, the fit with Kyle Shanahan.
I got to imagine that he is.
Well, a lot of things will change in the offseason. Yeah. We know that. All those unrestricted free agents, they're not all coming back. I would bet the majority of them don't come back. So you're going to have a totally new team. Maybe you have a new scheme on defense. Maybe you have a new coordinator.
What's Juwan's contract?
He is a restricted free agent.
See, now that's going to be the interesting one.
He and Ben Barch.
Okay, that's fun. Anyway, the Juwan Jennings one that's one to watch. That's one to watch. I wonder if somebody makes him an offer that the 49ers can't hang with. He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's a good player who could also, I wonder what Juwan wants. Seems like a good dude who loves the place, but at the same time,
it's time for paper.
But he also might, I wonder about role. I wonder if he wants a bigger, piece of the pie somewhere.
I would guess. I'm just looking at his snap counts.
Yeah.
45% of offensive snaps.
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, as we mentioned before, 21 personnel, 2 wide receivers. You've got Debo and you've got Ayuk. So you're basically going to be in there if one of them is hurt or on those times where you do go with the 3 wide receiver set. Just looking at his snap counts, 45%. Last year was 47%. Rookie year, 33%. So it's not like he's trending toward being a mainstay. And if you're a team out there that runs a lot of 3 wides and 4 wides, I'd much rather be a part of that system as the 3rd wide receiver in a 2-receiver team.
Valuable player, man.
Yeah, big time.
Valuable player.
One thing about Juwan really quick, he is a restricted free agent, so the Niners can match any offer, and if he does go, they will get draft pick compensation.
They will get compensation. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But obviously, the Ayuk extension talks will be a part of this, and the Niners need to plan financially for what happens after next season, which is obviously significant. Although it won't kick in until the year after that.
Right.
Trent Williams has said he's going to play for at least a couple more years. Christian McCaffrey's got a couple more years left. I mean, today's not the day for it, but the window is not closed.
No.
Good Lord.
Of course not.
Those of you who are like, oh gosh, they're running. Like, I get it. You don't get to the Super Bowl every year. So it's tough. It's tough to keep getting these chances. And Nick Bosa said it best yesterday. You start to wonder how many chances you're going to have at this thing. But the window's not closed. God, they're going to be good next year.
You would figure.
Yeah, they'll be good.
They'll be good. And, a lot of it is determined by the luck of the injuries. And this year they were not bitten by the injury bug.
Well, next year's already off to a bad start.
It is. Yeah. No doubt.
Already off to a bad start. Scott and Hayward. Hey, Scott, what's up?
Gentlemen, great show. I want to start by saying I was listening last night on my drive back from Livermore, and you had 2 dudes on the radio who were literally ranting and raving and screaming for Shanahan to be fired. And hold
on, Scott. Hold on. Got to stop because one of those human beings is right here in this room, Scott, and he may have said I
think he was laughing.
Well, but they weren't. They were mad. You guys were mad at Shanahan. You didn't call for him to be fired.
We were mad, and we explicitly said he should not be fired, and of course he will not be fired.
Of course. So anyway, I just wanted to adjust that, Scott, but keep going.
So I just want to – I got to say, Shanahan wasn't the one who had a fluke punt clip off of his heel. Shanahan wasn't the backup tight end who committed an egregious hold on a big run. Shanahan was not the one who false started at a critical point in the game. That was Ayuk. Shanahan did, in fact, put his team in a chance to win. As far as the aggression, I thought he called a pretty aggressive game. His Jennings to McCaffrey touchdown – I made a modest sports investment at plus 2,200 on it. Any non-quarterback to throw a touchdown, and his aggression paid me handsomely. That was a fine investment. At some point, you really just have to tip your cap to the Chiefs. Their defense played lights out. The coverage on the Debo Samuel should have been touchdown was magnificent. The Niners defense held Mahomes and company down most of the game. They're certainly not the first team to get beat by Mahomes inside of a short window at the end of a game. It's a long, long list. He's probably the greatest quarterback in the game and making a good resume for the greatest of all time. It was a hell of a game. As a fan, I'm crushed, of course. But hey, cap tip to the GOAT and to Andy Reid for everything he called, and for the Chiefs for just playing their hearts out. And hopefully we get back and we can have round 3, maybe. I don't know, but Shanahan certainly got us there. So go Niners.
Yeah, no, Scott. I think that's a very rational take. Here's where my head goes. This is one thing I've been meaning to say. When that thing ended last night, and you see those people run out onto the field again, there's something in me that was just like I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. I was with D'Amico Ryans, man, on Friday, who was just like, it's just the Niners' year. It just felt like their year, especially with the way their playoffs were going. It felt like something different was happening. And I watched the Chiefs all year, and at no point At no point did they look destined for a championship. Never did I think less of them. Never did I think they weren't a threat. I certainly didn't think they were going to win the Super Bowl, but I've never thought that they were anything less than great. I really just did not visualize that happening. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes on the microphone again. Man, I just did not think it was going to end that way. All the way until it did.
Yeah, until they got down to the inside the red zone and time was running out, Mark. They only had 3 seconds left. Except for the next quarter of overtime.
Except for time was not running out.
Yeah, so.
Why do they even run the clock for the first 2 possessions? The clock is relevant. Why do they even run it?
It's for the direction, as I indicated during the crossover.
Right.
So if you're playing outdoor, for example.
Which in a Super Bowl you almost never will be.
Yeah, I wonder who is going to get one. I wonder where the next few are. I know that L.A. is an indoor.
Yep.
Levi's is getting one.
That's true.
That's outdoor.
That's true.
I think they're getting it in 2 years.
That's true.
Super Bowl 60.
And we damn well know it can rain this time of year. I don't know. You seen any rain lately?
Not lately.
No, you haven't?
Well, not in the last 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
It's coming, though, later this week.
I know, and it's supposed to stay for 113 straight days. I already looked
Directionally is why they do it, so at the end of the quarter, they switch it up.
Yeah, no, I get it, but it's kind of irrelevant.
Superdome, Levi's, SoFi are the next 3.
Okay, so
New Orleans, Santa Clara, Inglewood.
Indoor, outdoor, indoor.
Correct.
Okay, all right.